Do you think Gold Coast, there's any possibility they win the flag this year? Are they in the automatic no category?
I think so because if they make the top 4 and they win the qualifying final, I mean, I'm doing a lot of what ifs here.
But yeah, it is kind of unlikely, I think, that they'll make the top 4, to be fair.
Do you really?
Let's say, hypothetically, they did finish 4th. Do you then think they could win the flag? And let's say they play Collingwood. You still don't
I still probably don't. Because I think they'll lose. I think they're going to be really hard to beat at home, but they're going to struggle on the road.
I don't know. I just think that they have beaten the top 2 seeds in consecutive weeks. Or not consecutive weeks, but in recent weeks.
No, it is consecutive weeks. Collingwood into...
Was that last week when they beat Collingwood? I thought there was a game in between. Doesn't matter. Over a very short period of time, and then they just thumped Brisbane today. That might be touched, actually.
It is.
Damn it.
It's definitely hit him on the wrist.
I don't know. I just feel like the Gold Coast Suns are this massive steam locomotive careering towards the league. These are all the wrong words, but I feel like when they're going to hit a point where they build so much momentum, there's too much quality for them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like almost about the belief piece. If they have that, then shit. I think everyone needs to be wary of them in finals.
I do agree with everything you've said.
The week in between, they got slaughtered by Adelaide. I just remember
they did too. They did too.
Look,
didn't they not score a goal in the first half?
Yeah, yes. Look, but I suppose a lot will go into it, like who do they play and when and where. Sorry, like
that's what I'm saying though.
Yeah, if they play Adelaide in Adelaide, I think shit, that's going to be tough. But if they have the Lions or Collingwood, I actually think they match up on those sides quite well.
Do you think they'd beat the Lions at the Gabba?
I think they could. I wouldn't tip it, but I think they could. I don't think there is that much... they're not that far off in terms of talent.
I just feel you get one of those big finals, like a qualifying final, they got Collingwood at the MCG, say they finish 4th and Collingwood finish 1st, hypothetically. I would struggle to tip them to win that game.
I don't think I would tip them, but I'm also refusing to rule them out. I think there is enough. There's so much talent there that I agree on the form Collingwood.
I had them just outside my 8 at the beginning of the season, and mostly that was based on the fact that you got to prove it to me.
Yeah,
because
fair enough.
I've sort of been saying that they're going to make the finals for the last 2-3 years, and they haven't done it. So there's definitely enough quality in the side.
So much potency.
I think they've got all of those like players where you're like, I want that sort of archetypical player in that position. They've just got all of those like consistently.
I think it's probably more likely that they could play the Lions at the Gabba and potentially just like steamroll them. I think it's more likely they do that than hang in there in a close game and beat them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They have to catch a team unawares.
What I can't see them doing though is just steamrolling like 3 teams in a row in finals, and that's probably what you...
I'm putting a little bit of mayonnaise on this, I know. But I guess what I'm saying is the way they play when they're at their best and the teams that they've beaten, I am not going to put them in the 2 bins of the 2 bins that are left, can win the flag and can't win the flag. I would not put them in the can't win the flag.
Belief.
Triple negative.
Belief is absolutely building.
Who can win the flag and who can't? Let's go through the obvious ones. Collingwood, Brisbane, Geelong, I think.
You have to say they can. You just have to say they can.
Do you think that Adelaide can?
Yeah.
I think Adelaide can.
Yeah, absolutely. Outside those obvious 3, the next most likely...
Adelaide would be 4.
For me, they wouldn't, but they still can. The next one for me would be the Giants.
More than Adelaide?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep, for me.
Yep. Okay, so that's 5 teams who can win the flag. Let's just make it binary, can or can't.
Yep.
Is there anyone else? You'd be looking at Fremantle, the Western Bulldogs and Gold Coast.
Western Bulldogs.
And Hawthorn.
Next for me would be Hawthorn. But so the Hawthorn, I actually wanted to have this discussion about Hawthorn because based on what I've seen from them this season, I would say no. But they do have a couple of wild cards. Will Day's back into the side. He'll start to build a bit of momentum if he can stay fit. Huge. And also, Cal Shadir and Mitch Lewis made that forward line look incredibly better. Just based on that performance. Incredibly better. Not a good phrase. Was definitely hoping something better came out of my mouth. Incredibly better. It looked better, didn't it? Like just on Dylan Moore coming back into a little bit of form as well. I just think there's something there if they could sort of put it all together. The midfield's a question mark for sure. But Will Day is so good, man.
Yeah. So I agree with those 5. I think Gold Coast are still in that bracket for me for 6 of teams who can win the flag. The 3 that I don't think can win the flag
that are in that 9.
Yeah. The remaining 3 teams, I don't think Fremantle can win the flag, to be honest.
I don't think they can either.
I'm not quite convinced yet. I think they were great against Collingwood. That last quarter was sensational, but like that took so much willpower to defend Collingwood in that third quarter. It was 54 inside 50s to 24. I just don't think they get away with that in September.
So I agree. I agree with you. The question then is like, what is it about their list or the way that they play that makes you think that?
That they can't?
Yeah. Other than when they played Collingwood, they conceded a lot of inside 50s.
I don't think... Well, I guess another way that I think of it is what do these teams look like at their best? And I'd say that Collingwood against Fremantle game was Fremantle's best win of the year, no doubt.
Yeah.
But it probably, if you roll the dice 10 times, I don't think they win that game more often than not because of the fact that they were defended really well. And to be fair, I wouldn't say Collingwood should have won. Collingwood's entries in that third quarter in particular were pretty woeful and Fremantle defended better. I just think you play that game over and over again, 54 to 24 inside 50s. Fremantle don't win that game over and over again with a limited supply. So I don't think Fremantle's best is up there with any of the teams I mentioned.
I feel exactly the same way with Freo. I suppose to play devil's advocate, you'd look back at, say, Collingwood 2023, and they were a team that struggled to put teams away, struggled to kick like massive scores as well, that Collingwood team. It's like even when they played bottom teams, it was always a bit of a struggle. And they manage moments really well. And you can probably see some parallels there with this Freo side where they're they're starting to become like a bit of a bastard team to play against in like those final minutes of quarters and stuff. Like they bob up, they kick a goal, they get in front, and then they hold it really well. They keep the ball in the pockets and stuff like that. There's becoming a bit of a winning character about them, I feel.
Absolutely. I think they're on a great trajectory. I'm purely talking about this year.
This year, yeah.
I need to clarify that because I know I'm a West Coast fan and people are not going to like that. But what I will say in Fremantle's favour is they have a great record of beating good teams away from home. So they will be an absolute wild card in the finals, no matter who it is against. I will give them a chance. I just don't know if they do it 4 times.
Yes.
Hawthorn, I don't think they have a really strong performance this year to hang their hats on. They have been a pretty good team, but I can't think of a dominant performance. Okay, well, they beat the Bulldogs. They were pretty good. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, that was a good win.
But the Bulldogs are currently ninth.
I actually would say that like you look back at the Hawthorn performances and if you're looking for that really good performance, it's probably in that sort of opening couple of rounds where they beat the Giants in Tassie after being like 5 goals down.
I suppose that's true. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
They've ground out some pretty good wins.
Yeah.
On the same token, like they could end up being the side that misses the finals.
That's
too.
very true. Yeah.
It's so interestingly poised, but I do like the Freo conversation for me is that they don't have the sort of I don't know, like the upside players, even that midfield. Maybe Hayden Young's a bit of a wild card because he's coming back in, but I feel like just everything's a little bit more boring with them, and they're finding ways to ground out results and not necessarily blowing me away. Performance-wise.
Yeah, that's right. I still think their best is well and truly ahead of them, Fremantle. So it's not a knock. I just wouldn't get carried away because
I feel like you get very worried about criticising Freo because
we lost to Fremantle today. I know that this
you think people are going to come for you hard,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. No, obviously respect what they've built there. And I think I just don't think this year is the year. And the other one is the Bulldogs, who I would say I'm very close to ruling out. They have so much... I could make myself look silly here because I probably would have said the same thing when they finished 5th and 7th and played in grand finals. But for me, it's too many shots at clubs rated in the top 8 and failing every time for me to then say, oh, in September it could be different.
No, I'm totally in agreement with you there. There's too many. When you look at all of those top teams, you know when I asked you the question before and I said, who is Adelaide's worst player, like their weakest link sort of player? And they're running through a few of the depth players at the moment, like Pedler and these sort of guys. But there's not many of those guys where you go like, oh, they could sort of cost you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Western Bulldogs have a lot of them. Okay. You know, they're playing Caleb Poulter at the moment, who is clearly a VFL player. Guys like Oscar Baker and Lockie Bramble and these sort of guys that are sort of regularly seeing games for them. I just think it's they're too top heavy. Mm-hmm. The defense is not right, is it? With currently what they got Rory Lobb
and O'Donnell.
Yeah, it's just not going to to cut it against these like three-headed monster teams like Adelaide.
That's fair.
And obviously being in that, they're absolutely not going to finish in the top 4, so they're going to be outside.
Yeah.
Probably going to have to
That's
travel.
not a problem for them. If they had more of a documented history this year of beating up on good teams, I would give them that.
Yep.
But as you say, they're top heavy, but some of their best players, the absolute best players in the competition. Bontempelli and Richards are rated the top 2 players on, at least on Wheelo.
Yeah.
And then there's Sam Darcy, who's obviously been out injured, but could probably still be in that conversation.
I mean, they're strangely in a position where Adam Treloar, if he was fit, maybe doesn't get into this side because he can't crack into the midfield. I mean, he probably would as a depth midfielder, but probably can't get in there. But yet they're running players like Bramble and these halfback flankers that are a really low standard. So there's definitely a transition period going on for them. Yeah. They've rolled things over. Like we've said, Daniel goes out, McRae goes out. So they're doing a little bit of different stuff, but I don't think they've found... I think this is experimental, and they've obviously got the offense really, really good, and the defense isn't quite there yet.
Yes. To cap off this 9 teams, who can win the finals, who can't, I will temper it with this. If you think back to 2016 and 2017 Bulldogs and Richmond premierships, if you'd asked me at the start of that final series, could the Bulldogs win in 16 and Richmond win in 17, I would have said nah.
Yeah.
Certainly the Bulldogs. I mean, everyone was surprised by that. But Richmond is an example that champion teams can be born in final series. So that
100%.
That could be Fremantle. It could be the Bulldogs this year.
That's why you got to like temper those. You know those like calls that people making like, oh, I'll believe in history sort of thing until it proves you wrong. That sort of thing. There's always that team that breaks that every now and then.
Yeah.
So someone put in the comments, didn't they, that Adelaide just smell like a team that loses in a prelim.
Yeah.
But they might not be. They might be the one that actually goes on and wins it.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
Yeah, it's tricky. I think we're pretty much on the same page there. I'm ruling out of the 9, Dogs no, Freo no. You said Hawthorn.
I said no to Hawthorn. Yeah. Not convinced.
Don't know why I'm still there with them. Maybe, I don't know if I'm hanging on to the fact that I tipped them and the Giants to be in the grand final.
Well, we were also seduced by one of the most exciting football teams last year. I just don't think they've been quite that this year.
No, they haven't. They absolutely haven't. Maybe it's me thinking that they can get it all together. You see like players like Sicily come back too. Battle and like Barras look pretty good.
Yeah. Again, another team that could be a champion team born in finals. I don't know. We do our best. We do our best to predict.